First, we are going to look at the interface of Maya, because before you start to make your 3D models, you have to know your way around the interface. And Maya uses shortcuts on the keyboard to a very large extent. So I strongly recommend that you use these keyboard shortcuts that I'm going to talk about. And the first one is a blank space. If I press blank space on the keyboard, I switch between this 4-panel view and 1 panel. And as you see, there are 4 panels. One is the perspective, where you can see your 3D model from different perspectives. Then we have the top view, the front view, and the side view. And you can create your own views also. For example, it is a very good idea to create a new perspective for the camera that you are going to use in order to render the models. And on the panels you have all the different views, and you can also create new views. And when you hover the mouse pointer above a panel, you open up that one by pressing space on the keyboard. And if you look at this perspective here, as you see, I can navigate in it, and that is also something that you do with the keyboard shortcuts. If I use the left mouse and press down Alt on the keyboard, I rotate the scene like this. If I take the right mouse the right button on the mouse and press Alt on the keyboard, then I zoom in and out of the scene like this. And when you work with Maya, it's a very good idea to have the middle mouse button. And if I press the middle mouse button and Alt, then I can pan in the scene. And it's a very good idea to get accustomed to using all those 3 mouse buttons and the Alt key. Another way of zooming is to press the Alt and Control key and drag a marquee, and you zoom in to the area where you have dragged that marquee. And if you drag the marquee in the opposite direction, from lower right to upper left, then you zoom out. That is also a very quick way to move around in the model. If you get lost and can't find your way home, then you can go to View and Default View, and you are back in the ordinary view, so you can actually see the grid space. Let's create some simple geometry, a polygon sphere, for example. In order to move this sphere, I use the different move tools that are on the far left here, the move, rotate, and the scale tool. And the easiest way to switch between those tools is to use the keyboard. So if I select the object and press WER on the keyboard, I switch between moving, rotating, and scaling. And as you see, I can scale in all directions at the same time by clicking on the yellow cube, or if I choose to drag in one of the other cubes, I scale in one direction. And often it is best to do the different movements one axis at a time. And remember also that it's a very good idea to switch to other views sometimes, because some of the movements or rotations or so is much easier to do in a top view or side view or whatever. So please don't get stuck in the perspective view all the time, but change to other views. If we look at this sphere, it has been a little bit deformed now. We only see the wireframe, this green mesh or blue mesh if I deselect it. That is called the wireframe. And a 3D model is composed of points. In Maya, the points are called control vertices. And connecting the different points, you have lines. And several lines create a polygon. And the polygon is called a face in Maya. And that is the surface of the model, so to speak. And you have the surface here, even if we don't see it. And in order to see the surface, I press 5 on the keyboard, so that I go into the shaded mode of the model. If I press 4, I go back to the wireframe. So switching between 5 and 4, wireframe and shaded, is also something that you want to do very often. Because sometimes you need the shaded version in order to see the shape of the model. But sometimes you need to see the wireframe in order to see things that are behind other parts and so on. You also have 7. If you press 5 and 7, then we get a version or a display that shows the light in the model. And in this case, we don't have any lights, and that is why this object or this geometry becomes black. If I add a light, and drag it out here, as you see, I move the lights in the same manner as I move the geometries. When I move the light, you see that the model is updated, so we can actually see how it looks. But what we have here is a preliminary display of the object. If I want to really see how it looks, I need to render it. And that is what is done up here in the upper right, pressing this clapperboard symbol. If I do that, the model is rendered. And this is how it actually looks when it is rendered.